Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. The lesson today is from Deuteronomy 7, verse 12 through 11:25. And I'm going to be just dealing with some, just a few things in this Torah portion, but they're very, very important. Just as a reminder, Moses in Deuteronomy is recalling events.
Right.
And what took place and what happened and struggles and good things too. But he's, in this Torah portion, he's given a warning to the people, and reminding them of what Yahweh did for them when they came out of Egypt, and what he did for them as they went through the wilderness for 40 years. I just want to bring up again that this is a pattern, but it's a pattern of what is to come, and especially as Monty Judah describes it as the greater Exodus. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, because as I don't know if Monty or any of the other teachers have really expounded too much as far as, quote, the greater Exodus. All's been talked about is that there will be a greater Exodus at some point. But for what reason is what we've been studying for the last several months, especially in Amos. And so, but it's the greater Exodus is something that will happen before the millennial kingdom. And that's what needs to be understood. So let me open up with a word of prayer. Father, we give you praise and glory, and again I thank you for the time that we can study your word, and I thank you that your word prepares us for what's in our life today as well as what's ahead. So I continue to just seek your face and ask for wisdom and understanding in Yeshua's name. Amen. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. And remember, this is as Moses is recalling what the children of Israel went through. There's little things in here that point to the future. And those are part of the things that I want to try to point out today. Just to let you know, because some of you have heard me talk about this. I think when I first came in, I think it was 98 or 99, when I really started to go through and studying the Torah, and I came across some things, especially in what Moses had wrote, and I said, I wonder how many unfulfilled prophecies are in just the Torah itself. And I got up to Leviticus, and I was up over 20 at that point. I figured, man, there's a bunch here that have yet to take place and yet to happen. However, some people believe that it's all done and over with, and it's just there for information. Well, it's more than just information, and that's the way I want to make sure that you understand. This is what I'm trying to get across. So, in chapter 7, I'm going to start in verse 12, and we're going to go through 16. And I'm going to read it as such, because I'm going to put a few Hebrew things in. This shall be the reward when you hearken to these Aleph Tav ordinances, and you observe and perform them. Yahweh, your Elohim, will safeguard you for the covenant, will safeguard for you the covenant and the kindness that he swore to your forefathers. He will love you, bless you, and multiply you, and he will bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your land, your grain, your wine, and your oil, the offspring of your cattle and your flocks, of your sheep, your goats, and your land on the land that he swore to your forefathers to give you. You will be the most blessed of all peoples. There will be no infertile male or infertile female among you, nor among your animals. Yahweh will remove from you every illness and all the bad maladies of Egypt that you knew. He will not put them upon you, however, will put them upon all your foes. You will devour all the peoples that Yahweh your Elohim will deliver to you. Your eyes shall not pity them. You shall not worship their Elohims, for it is a snare for you. Now, there's a couple of things in here, just, in modern day, that I believe that Israel, the people that go by that identification in the land, especially their leadership, they are putting into practice. Now, what I mean is that last part that I read. You shall devour all the peoples that Yahweh your Elohim will deliver to you, and your eyes shall not pity them. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? Not to pity them.
Not to save them.
Okay, not to save them. Anything else?
Not to feel bad for them.
Not to feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Not to feel bad for them for what they're going through.
Right.
And that is sort of, and the reason I bring this up is because that to some degree is what people, how they're looking at the leadership that's in place in Israel now, is like, they're just, out to commit genocide and stuff, and they're not letting the people feed or eat and everything like that. Well, there's that part of Gaza, or that part of the land, the children of Israel have never controlled.
Yeah.
Since the day they went in, they've never controlled it. That was always under the influence or the governance of the Philistines. And what a lot of people don't realize is the influence of the Philistines is still in place on that land. And it's because the children of Israel did not go in and do what they were supposed to do. And so, as we'll see in another piece of scripture, that if they don't deal with them, then they're going to be like pricks in their side. They're going to be, they'll just keep bugging and bugging and bugging. And so it may appear that Israel, the leadership, is taking any pity on these people today. But their main goal is to do and take care of Hamas, which are descendants of the Philistines. And a lot of people don't realize that. And even some descendants of the Philistines are up in Lebanon. I'm trying to remember what they're called.
What was that?
Anybody remember the ones in Lebanon?
That starts with an H as well.
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah, yeah. Because if you research, and I'm kind of going off here a little bit, but if you research the history, the Philistines, some of them migrated to the north, up to the Lebanon. And so those two places have been, especially the Gaza, has been a real thorn in their side. And so, and that's why I believe they're still around. But back up to verse 12. Again, and Moses says this over and over and over again. If you observe and perform the commandments and the ordinances, then your Elohim will, deal with your enemies, deal with you in the proper way. But here it says, and Yahuwah will safeguard for you the covenant and the kindness that he swore to your forefathers. That promise is still in place today. And we need to understand that, we need to accept that. That promise is still there. What he had spoken to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that is still in place. And it's not because, it's, you know, if Israel, the children of Israel do rise up and they become the people that they're supposed to be, it'll all be because of the promise that he made to Abraham first, then Isaac, and then Jacob. And he mentions that a couple of times in this Torah portion. Okay? So, that promise has not been completely and fully come to pass. It's not been fulfilled. So that's one of the promises that is futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to throw that out there. All right, I want to jump down to verse 22. If anybody has any questions, just go ahead and
Yeah, they may be kind of working toward that somewhat now.
yes.
They're splitting Gaza in half.
Well, what they need to do, yeah. I don't want to get too much into
Right,
the
yeah, I don't want to.
political part, but yeah, they're working to, like I said, take
Push
care
them
of,
out, yeah.
take care of the people that are there,
Right.
and I don't know.
I think,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think too, that not only do they need to take care of the people that are there, they need to take care of the problems within their own land, among themselves.
Correct.
And
Right.
this was a twofold promise that Yah made with Israel.
Right.
The part of it here is because it was because of an oath that he had made with their forefathers.
Right.
But it was also because the people of the land were so wicked that they had to be driven out.
Correct.
And today we see a complete return of that wickedness in Israel. And I hate bringing it up. I hate even thinking about it. But the October 7th thing, the invasion that they suffered.
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen any of the interviews of the people who were at that festival,
Yeah.
I've
They
seen
were
a
all-
few, yeah.
Yeah.
they were all high on drugs and dancing around in front of a big statue of Buddha, and it was just it's pathetic, all on a high holy day. And it's Yah was extremely angered, I think.
Well, I can kind of attest to, what you're saying, because when my daughter and I were there in 2017, it's still the land of Canaan, in my opinion. And I've taught that for 25 years. And
Yeah.
people don't like it when I say that. Even people that, go there on a regular basis. But when
All you have to do is the Gay Pride Parade in Tel Aviv every year.
yes, and we were there at that time.
Yeah.
And it was debauchery. But as you were saying, just what was going on, and them dancing around and
Yeah.
doing what they were doing, and that's part of what also in this Torah portion, I don't know if we'll read it here in a little bit. That's what is going to be brought up in this Torah portion of how he's going to deal with that.
Right.
So, all right, let's go down to verse, what did I say, 22? Yeah, 22, chapter 7. So, here's another verse that I believe has not been completely fulfilled. So let me read. Yahweh your Elohim will thrust these nations from before you little by little. I'm going to read that again. Yahweh your Elohim will thrust these nations. So who's doing the work?
Yahweh.
Yahweh is. You will not be able to annihilate them quickly, lest the beasts of the field increase against you. Verse 23. Huh?
What does that mean? The beasts of the field will become to nourishing. What beasts of the field? Do you mean what beasts of the field?
Well, this is a little known fact. We learned this when we were over in Israel. There used to be, up in the hill countries, there used to be lions, there used to be bears and tigers, where the wooded areas were. Yeah, I mean, it was, and
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my.
they had wild beasts.
Okay.
You know, we've got wild beasts in Nevada. They're called horses, donkeys, jackasses. If you get sideways with them, they'll let you know they're there. So, but yeah, that they used to have those Deuteronomy 7. When, like I said, when the area was wooded, it was wooded almost all the way down to the Negev, and so because
So they would have been helping keep them under control.
Yes.
That's why they couldn't wipe out the tribes, because they were helping keep those beasts under control.
right,
Okay.
Yeah, if the people moved out, then the beasts would take over the area.
yeah,
Go on. Okay.
And animals are protective of their owners.
exactly.
Okay.
In verse 23, Yahweh your Elohim will deliver them before you and will confound them with great confusion until their destruction. Now, does anybody remember a time when, in the history of the children of Israel, that people that they were fighting became confused?
Oh, yeah.
And they fled?
Several times it's happened.
Yeah. And so, you know, I can take, and I can say we can take that, the confusion part, and say that, yes, Yahweh can do this, and He will do this. In the 6-day war, there were some military guys from Egypt, they got confused. And so they didn't want to engage with the children of Israel, and so that was how Israel was able to win the battles.
And there were random sandstorms
Yeah, and there were
that disoriented them.
yes,
Yep. Many times.
as Martha just said, there were random sandstorms that brings confusion. Okay,
Seemingly random.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump down to chapter 8, verse 1. Now we're going to get into some stuff here that I think we all know, but it doesn't hurt to review it.
Review is good.
So I'm going to have Marla, would you read verse 1 through 3, please?
Sure. Okay. You are to do every command which I command you today, that you might live, and shall increase, and shall end, and shall possess the land of which Yahuwah swore to your fathers.
Okay, hold on a minute.
And you,
Do you have the mic right up to your,
is it too loud?
well, no, it's not too loud, but you're cutting in and out. You're getting,
Okay.
Yeah, kind of garbled a little bit.
yeah. Try it now.
Okay. Verse 2, and you shall remember
That's better.
that, okay, good. And you shall remember that Yahuwah your Elohim led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you, prove you, to know what is in your heart, whether you guard his commands or not. And he humbled you and let you suffer hunger, and fed you with manna which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, to make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Yahuwah.
Okay, very good, thank you. That, where Marla has the word humbled, I have the word afflict.
Afflict, yeah. And it always has to do with food or being hungry, right? Like in Isaiah,
degree,
when
yeah.
it talks about afflicting yourselves,
Mhm.
and then the whole rest of the paragraph, the whole context is about fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I love to do this with the little kids, with the younger ones, I guess 20 years and younger. And even some adults,
When they're old, big kids.
you know, even the adults. Why was manna given to the children of Israel?
To sustain them?
A test.
No, as a test.
To see if they would.
A test to
observe-
what?
To see if they observe Shabbat.
To see if they would, Shabbat is part of it, but to see if they would keep his commandments.
Yes.
Because the main commandment was, you shall do no civil work on the seventh day. And so, that's keeping the commandment. But it goes even further than that. It's the word of Yahuwah that says this. This is what you're supposed to do. This is, so if you don't do it, then an affliction or a test is going to come upon you. Now I have to afflict and to test, to know what is in your heart. Now, that word test can be either a minor test or a major test. Now, what I mean by a major test, that's hard testing. That's what is being brought forward here. It's hard testing. It's like in the prayer that was taught to the disciples. Lead us not into, and the word temptation again is incorrect. That word there where it says temptation should be hard testing. Lead us not into hard testing. So even Yeshua himself can, we can point back to this piece of scripture as one of them. It says, lead us not into hard testing, because he's the one that's going to lead you into hard testing. Why?
To see if you'll do what he says.
To show you if you're gonna do what he says.
To show what's in your heart.
Oh, very good.
What?
Very good.
What's that?
It's right in the scripture. It says
Oh.
to know what is in your heart. It's
Well, he knows it, so you know. Huh?
yeah, that's so we will know what's in our heart.
Show it
To
them.
either so we need to learn it that way. He brings these afflictions upon us to reveal to us what's in our heart. Are we going to get mad? Are we going to get angry? Are we going to break a vow? Are we going to do something towards or against Yahuwah? And so that's the test. And if we break it, if we break a command, if we break an ordinance, well then you can just imagine what's going to keep going on. More testing. Yes. Now, in verse 3, when he says about feeding the manna to them, because they were looking at it like most people do, just as food. But manna was the word from heaven, and I can go through all the verses, and that Yeshua says, I'm the manna that was sent from heaven, because John brings this out in verse 14, and the word became, chapter 1, verse 14, and the word became flesh. Well, the word of Yahuwah that's John talks about, is the same word of Yahuwah that is right here. It came in the form of manna, something to eat. And that again, we can relate that to when he was making the new covenant with the disciples. But, this is also part of where, you know, when Yeshua was being hard tested, by Hasatan, this is what he quotes. And so, when he was told to turn the stones into bread. Okay. There was something else here that I wanted to bring up. And Moses does bring it out, but I want to bring it up here. He brings it out in another place. I want to bring up Amos 8, verse 11 and 12. It's what we've been looking at. But Amos, for those that haven't been with us, Amos is a little book that starts off sounding good, but then it ends up with judgments and what the Father's going to do to the children of Israel. Basically, as Amos gets towards, you know, midway and then into the later chapters, it's about Jacob's trouble, and that's how I've been presenting it. But I want you to go to verse 11 and 12 in Amos chapter 8. Now, Amos is talking, huh? Does that mean
That's
give
you,
feedback?
yeah.
Okay. Amos is talking about what's ahead. So verse 11 says, "Behold, days are coming, declares Yahweh, when I will send a famine on the land." Now, most times when we hear famine on the land, we think it's, you know, food. All right? But that's not what he's talking about. Not a famine for bread or for thirst for water, however, rather for hearing the words of Yahuwah. Let me read that again. Not a famine for bread or a thirst for water, however, rather for hearing the words of Yahuwah. So just try to imagine that. That's it's critical, especially because he's not only talking about to you know the northern kingdom. He's not only talking to them that they're going to be taken off, but and that they will have a thirst for you know, for hearing the words of Yahuwah. But this is probably talking about even days beyond us right now. Okay, it's like when the manna is taken away, what kind of guideposts do we have? Now, if you understand what I'm saying, what's going to be, what's going to lead and guide us? What's going to tell us what's going to happen?
The word that's inside you.
The word that's inside, yes. And this is a critical thing to understand. Those who are under the new covenant have the word written on their heart and put in their minds.
Sounds like a conscience,
Well, yeah, there's a conscience.
God conscience.
But it is placed there, though it's only for those, and I'm going to be kind of clear, for the house of Israel. And they will have the word with them. And, you know, I'm kind of a stickler on black and white on paper and stuff like that, and red letters, and because we can carry these around. As a guy told me a couple weeks ago when he looked at my Bible, he goes, "Boy, that's well used." I said, "Yeah, it is." I said, "But I'm not going to get a new one. The Bible will outlast me." So, but there is a time coming when people will be going. Now, well, let me read verse 12. "And people will stagger from sea to sea, from the north even to the east, They will go to and fro to seek the word of Yahuwah, but they will not find. And I'm going to do something right here, and I'm surprised I didn't do it. I'm going to make a capital out of the W on word. They will go to and fro seeking the word of Yahuwah. Now, again, get a picture of what that's going to look like. What is that going to be? Because I believe what I said earlier, that what Amos is talking about here is during Jacob's trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martha?
Well, there'll be a shutdown, right?
Yeah.
There's
There'll be
churches,
silence.
churches will be closed, right? And anything Bible related online is gonna be blocked, right?
And that's possible,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Because it
that's
can be done.
easy, yeah.
Yeah.
And any gatherings, you know, because, any private gatherings in your homes, you're gonna be arrested.
And
It's
that's
gonna be illegal.
right. That's a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things during Jacob's trouble is going to happen is there will be false teachers and false prophets that will rise up. This is what Revelation is about. This is what Matthew 24 is about, that Yeshua was warning against.
Already there, right?
Well, yes, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we're there. But imagine now, make that 100-fold, because that's the way it's going to be. Because if you've got to flee, or if you've got to go somewhere, or you don't know how to use your scriptures, because you've been sort of put to sleep by listening to somebody.
You think it's enough
Yeah.
to watch a preacher on TV
Yeah.
or say a prayer with somebody once a week or something, you know?
But this is, and the false prophets and the false teachers are going to sound like they are Torah observant. And that's where the anti-Messiah is going to come out of.
Yeah. See, my second half says they will be wandering around looking for a revelation.
Oh,
from
okay,
Yahuwah.
yeah. That's an interesting way of putting it, but that's about right. Looking for a revelation.
And the word, and then the note in Hebrew is looking for the word of. But, yeah, if there's silence and, you know, they're going, well, what are we supposed to do? Talk to us.
Yeah. So they'll be led astray.
People are gonna be in panic and listen to anybody, the first
Right.
person that says what they wanna hear.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's why, you know, I was talking with somebody this past week, you know, because I've been going through this scenario of what's leading up to Jacob's trouble, our time period now, and what's leading up to Jacob's trouble, and what's going to happen then, and what's going to take place before the kingdom of heaven comes. And it's important for us, if we get the opportunity, to share these things and pass them on. I mean, that's a part of discipling also. Okay. I want to go down to 16 and 17. Let me double check that. Yeah, this is just talking about, well, let me read you my verse 16 and 17, chapter 8 of Deuteronomy. Who feeds you manna in the wilderness, which your forefathers knew not, in order to afflict you, and in order to test you, to do good for you in your end. And you may say in your heart, my strength and the might of my hand made me all this wealth. Now, the reason I bring verse 18 or 17 into there is because Amos talks about this. He talks about, you know, when the children of Israel return to the land, and they will return, and they will grow in wealth, because all of what Moses is preparing the people for is when they enter into the land. It's a land that's good, it's plenty, it's going to meet every one of your needs. You know, it's because the land isn't that way today. And but again, you know, they're dealing with their enemies and stuff that are living in the land, you know, as we talked about before. But again, verse 16, you know, was to test. So we see that over and over and over again. And so, you know, it's about the end of days prophecy. Go down to verse 19. It shall be that if you forget Yahweh your Elohim and go after the gods of others and worship them and prostrate yourself to them, I testify against you today that you will surely perish. Now let me just give you my thoughts on this. The Father has always had a remnant, but throughout the ages, the children of Israel have declined and they've increased, declined and increased. We are at a period of time now, and have been since the 90s, of the children of Israel increasing. However, they're not of our Jewish brethren. They're outside of our Jewish brethren. And they're still not recognized as being a part of the children of Israel. But that still does not nullify them from being of the house of Israel. I hope everybody understands what I'm getting at there. And so,
I don't know who you're talking about. Should I know who you're talking about?
well, back here where Moses is talking, he's talking to the group of people that are gathered together. I'm
Yes.
talking about the people that are scattered all over the world.
Okay.
And
all right,
you've
that's
heard
what
me,
I was
you've heard me
wondering.
talk about that. You know, the house of Israel, they're identified like us here. I know I'm of the house of Israel, and I know many of you are, if not all. But we are not recognized as such.
Oh, yeah,
So
But that
that's
does,
who you're talking about right now, all of us.
yes, but
universal.
yeah, universally, but it doesn't nullify the fact that we are of the house of Israel, that we are a part of the commonwealth of Israel, as Paul puts it. Even though we're not recognized, we're still a part of the commonwealth of Israel. And what we're reading and studying today, and what we've been reading and studying for years, applies to us. All right. So, the word perish here, back to verse 19, the tail end of 19. Let me go into verse 20. Like the nations that Yahweh causes to perish before you, so will you perish, because you will not have hearkened to the word of Yahuwah. You may have the word. You may have the word voice there,
Yeah.
but the voice of Yahweh is the same, one and the same as the word of Yahweh. Now, in Hebrew, let me just bring this out because it's in my note here. The word perish, I think does everybody have the word perish?
Yes.
Yeah. What the Hebrew word means is, huh?
I'm destroyed.
Okay, what the Hebrew word means is wander off, to become undone, to wander off. And see, this is what has happened to the house of Israel. when they were taken out of the land, they started to wander off. They started to assimilate into the nations that they were spread off to. But praise Yah, he said he's going to look for them.
So they're destroyed as a group. They don't have.
They're not, okay, like I said,
Yeah.
said earlier, we're all individualized.
Right.
Group upon group upon group, they're all individualized. They're not
Yeah.
looked as a whole.
Yeah.
And so,
The pieces all over the place.
pieces all over the place, yes.
Like taking a puzzle and
Yeah.
going like this.
Yeah. And so, when we start to bind it together is when, we will be recognized. All right. See, I want to go to chapter 9. Yeah. Go down to verse 4, chapter 9. Oh, because this goes up in verse 17 of chapter 8. Let me just read that, and then I'll go to verse 4, chapter 9. 17. And you may say in your heart, my strength and my might of my hand made me all this wealth. Do not say in your heart, verse 4, chapter 9, do not say in your heart, when Yahweh pushes them away from before you, saying, because of my righteousness did Yahweh bring me to possess this land, and because of wickedness of these nations did Yahweh drive them away from before you. I think verse 6 also. Oh, yeah. Not because of your righteousness and the uprightness of your heart are you coming to possess their land, but because of the wickedness of these nations does Yahweh your Elohim drive them away from before you. I think that's about the third or fourth time where the direct I can't remember the English term for it. Context is Yahweh will drive them away. Yahweh will put them out. And in order to establish the word that Yahweh swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob. And you should know, verse 6, and you should know that not because of your righteousness does Yahweh your Elohim give you this good land to possess it. For you are a stiff-necked people. Thank you, Moses. You've really made some encouragement upon me today. I try to put myself in the place of being there when Moses is presenting this. This isn't real good stuff to hear. You're going into a land that should supply all your needs, but you're going to become wealthy. And I believe that this is what I just went over, is dealing with the time that's leading up to Jacob's trouble. You're going to be wealthy. You're going to be respected. You're going to be feared. However, then it's going to turn and you will become stiff-necked. Once again. Now again, I warn us, it's not everybody, but the majority, it appears, are going to become this way.
Haven't they always been that way?
Yes, they have, and that's what I'm saying. It's at the time when they're in the land, when Judah and Israel, the house of Israel, put together in the land, they will look like they're one. But you remember what I've said. They will look like they're one, but they really won't be. They will still be independent of one another, but they'll get along. They'll be getting along. But then that will break down. Let me just read verse 7. Well, let me, I want to make sure that we understand, you know, there's a time that's going to come when the people are going to say, because of our wealth, we did this. Because of our righteousness, he did this for us. Now, let's look at the word righteousness. In our English, righteousness is right standing. Right standing. But that's in English. That's from Greek to English. What might it be in the Hebrew? Now remember, in your Strongs, it's influenced by the English. Righteousness in Hebrew is right believing. Correct believing. You're believing in the correct things. You're believing in what you have been told to believe in. And you proclaim it. And I used Abraham as a good example. He was called righteous because he believed in the word of Yah, and he was looking for the kingdom to come. Noah was considered righteous because he believed in the word of Yahuwah, that he was to build an ark and that a flood was going to come. And it took 100 years. Abraham never saw what he believed in its completeness.
Right.
So it's what you believe in is what's going to make you righteous. Not a right standing. Now, I've got to be careful when I say that. Because a lot of the brethren think they're in right standing because they believe in Yeshua. And I always have to bring up when somebody says, well, I'm a believer. I said, well, what are you believing in? Well, I believe in Yeshua. And some of you have heard me say this, but do you believe in the man, or do you believe in the words that the man spoke?
Well, yeah, I like the thing that picture comes to mind. Even the demons believe and shudder.
Exactly. Even the demons believe and shudder.
So your belief doesn't really mean anything. They believe.
But if you believe in the word, if you believe in what Yeshua said, if you believe in, see, the children of Israel back here, they didn't have a figure to be able to say, point to, or to, oh, that's him. That's the one we're to believe in. Or the one that's hanging on the wall.
Right.
It's on a cross. No. It's what the words that he spoke
Right.
is what we need to believe in.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been from the beginning. Abraham, when he left Haran, when he left his father's house, did he believe? He did, because now his actions proved it.
Proved it, yeah. Belief in action.
So our actions today, at least mine, I'll just use me as an example, is to not shy away from the message of the kingdom. Is not to shy away from, well, these are ordinances, these are the commandments he wants me to keep. To not shy away from those things, because that's in his word. That's his word to me. And that's what I believe in. All right. Now verse 7. Chapter 9. Remember, do not forget that you provoked Yahweh your Elohim in the wilderness, from the day you left the land of Egypt until your arrival at this place. You have been rebels against Yahweh. Martina, read me yours.
So
if you
that's
would, please.
9 what?
Yeah, verse 7.
7. Oh yeah. Remember, don't ever forget how you provoked Yahuwah your Elohim in the desert, From the time you left the land of Egypt until you came to this place, you were constantly rebelling against him.
Okay. Rebelling, yeah, or rebels. You're
yeah.
rebels. And again, Moses is talking to the whole group,
Yeah.
but not all of them were rebels.
But most of them were.
Yeah, many of them were.
Or maybe,
Okay. I'm gonna pass over, I'm gonna finish with this. Go to chapter 10. Verse 12. We'll be in verse 12. Chapter 10, verse 12. Take a little beverage here. All right, take this personally. Each one of us, take it personally. Now, Israel, what does Yahweh your Elohim ask of you? I think it was this time last year I was kind of bringing up, what is he asking of us? What is it to do the will of Yahweh? Only to fear Yahweh your Elohim, to go in all his ways and to love him, and to serve Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. Okay, I've got to stop for a minute. With all your heart, okay, I think we talked about the heart. Getting a new heart, having the commandments put into our, written on our heart. But with all your soul. Heart is the inward part of us. Heart is the emotional part of it. The soul is the outward body.
Last year you said ethic.
Huh?
Last time you said ethic.
Ethic, yeah. It's your breathing. The word soul there is spirit, but it means to breathe. It's a breath. It's wind. That's
It's an action.
It's an action. That's what our soul is. It's our body. That's why Adam became, when the breath of Yahuwah came into him, he became a living soul, or a living being, depending on your translation. But that's what the word soul here is. But it's a lot of times it's thought about as being the spirit. No, it's your breath. So if it's your breath, every time I speak, air is coming out. Breath is coming out.
It's your life, it's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's what
As long as you're alive
yeah.
and you're doing it, that's your ethic.
If you're out of breath, then your life is done.
You're done.
But what I'm doing is I'm breathing when I speak. I'm pushing out. But it's what you're speaking is what makes the difference. And some people talk about when you speak, are you speaking life or are you speaking death? Well, I've actually spoke both of them this morning. But to give instruction, to speak the word of Yahuwah, you've got to put breath out, but then you have to take breath back in order to put breath back out. It's something we don't even really think about, unless you're doing a pulmonary test, which I have to do when I get back to Colorado, and I'm not looking forward to it. With all your heart and with all your soul, verse 13, to observe the commandments of Yahweh and his decrees, which I command you today. Why? Because it's for your benefit. It's for your benefit. Behold, Verse 14. To Yahweh your Elohim are the heaven and highest heaven, the earth and everything that is in it. Only your forefathers did Yahweh cherish to love them. That's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he chose their offspring after them. You. Place yourself in that three-letter word. You. He chose us from among all the peoples as is today. Now the way mine reads in verse 16, you shall cut away the barrier of your heart and no longer stiffen your neck. Remember before he called them stiff-necked people? Rebels? To cut away the barrier of your heart. Does anybody have the word circumcised there?
Therefore circumcise
I
the
do.
foreskin of
Yeah.
your heart.
Therefore circumcise your heart. You know what's interesting? This was given to the children of Israel as they were entering into the land. You are to circumcise your heart. Who circumcises our heart today?
Yeshua.
Huh?
Yeshua.
Yahuwah.
Us.
The word.
Ah, the word circumcises our heart. See what I'm doing there?
I'm done with your questions.
Huh? No. It's good because it's you know it's the word. It's exactly what we're studying is what's circumcising our heart. It's strengthening our heart. It's making it pure. We have to look at it that way. All right. I want to go. I thought I was gonna. I said we'd close off there, but I want to go to chapter 11, the very end of the Torah portion, verse 24. Because this is setting the boundaries, but it's another prophecy that has not been fulfilled in its entirety.
Where?
Verse 24, chapter 11, Deuteronomy. Let me read you mine. Every place where the sole of your foot will tread shall be yours. Now listen to the boundary. From the wilderness and the Lebanon, from the river, the Euphrates River, until the western sea, shall be your boundary. No man will stand up against you. Yahweh your Elohim will set your terror and fear on the entire face of the land where you will tread, as he spoke to you. Now, could it be that the children of Israel in that day, when they were in the wilderness, and I kind of believe this, did actually travel around that perimeter?
I'm sure they did to where they got plenty of time.
Well, now the way I see it is they started, they were almost up to Gaza, and then that's when the Father had them, when they came out of Egypt, had them go south. And then they traveled from there all the way around. I believe that they traveled all the way around to where the Euphrates is, and then they traveled up the Euphrates to the top of the Mediterranean Sea. But what was happening as they were traveling around that territory? What do you think?
They were just confirming what
Something greater than that.
They were setting their borders.
Huh?
They were setting their borders.
They were setting their borders, but how were they setting their borders?
With their feet.
on
Their
foot.
And dead bodies. Now that sounds morbid.
No, it sounds.
Because I'm sure it took them
They
a very
were-
long time to walk and.
They were marking the bound. That's the picture I have in my mind. You know,
Very interesting.
Because
They
the
were-
dead would be on the outside of the borders. It'd be
Yeah.
out on the outside
yeah,
of the future
They were-
kingdom.
they were marking their boundaries.
Mm,
Something to think about. I mean,
yeah.
whether it's true or not, I don't know, because most people just have them wandering around the Sinai desert. And I go, no, because there's too much evidence that they
No, it makes a whole lot of sense
went other
right
places.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's all I have for you today. So, look forward to, this is my last Shabbat here until, for about 3 weeks. Then I'll be back, and, so, I'll be doing the message also today. I think I'll be doing everything.
Is John Lockwood not gonna be here either?
No,
No.
no, I know,
Okay.
He has family
Oh,
here.
family.
and John Shaver's not gonna be here
I'm
either.
not sure. Okay.
All right, let me close out with a word of prayer. Father, with praise and glory, do thank you and give you praise. Thank you for your word. Thank you that we can hide it in our inner being, as well as bring it forth when it's time to give testimony and testify and witness. And I pray, Father, that you would be glorified in those things and be glorified today. And we give you praise in Yeshua's name. Amen.